Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working together step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. We're making a great progress through grade 4 theory. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. You can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. There's a page there which links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also access information about the books that I have available. I've written how to take your ABRSM Music Theory exam, and it's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and how to best make use of the time when you're actually taking the exam, actually working through your paper. So if you visit sharonbill.com, it's all there for you. If you can give me a like, that'd be really great, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. I'm really enjoying working through this with you. And so now let's continue with the last section of the chromatic scale. So if you turn with me to page 39, let's just find that. So exercise 3. Now there's no new information here. However, there's quite a lot to think about, and so I do recommend that you just grab a piece of scrap paper and just have a piano keyboard image to hand. It just makes it so much easier because you're going to have quite a lot to think about now. Nothing new, it's not terribly scary, there's just lots of little details that they're asking you to bear in mind. Because in previous exercises they've done the work for us. If you look back in the previous videos, they've given us the note head, so we hadn't much choice, but we just had to add the accidentals to make the chromatic scale. Whereas now we've got a bit of a blank canvas and we've got to create the whole scale. And they've also given us some other tips because we're in a key, so we need to bear in mind which is the first, the fourth and the fifth degree of the scale. And then they're asking us to start on different points of the scale, not necessarily on the tonic like this one. So if we're in the key of A major, we know that A is the first, A, B, C, D is the fourth, and E is the fifth. So we need to make sure that those notes are represented unaltered. So we can see we've got an A, a D, and an E. So it's better to have that rather than perhaps you could have had C double sharp, say for example, where we need to have the tonic, subdominant and dominant notes of the scale. Other than that, I kind of think that the world's your oyster, so you could go about it in a number of ways. And so if you want to have a go at one, by all means do, or just work with me for this first one and then you can try some on your own after that. So first of all, I'm just going to map out where my bar lines are and get all the nitty-gritty bits in place. Now let's just make a few notes of what's being required of us here. If I just pop this, I think it'll be better below. Make sure you can see everything that's going on there. That's it, I think we can see now. So we're in the key of E flat major and we're descending, so it's easy to get sidetracked, so I'm just going to give myself a clue straight away. We're going down bank. We're starting on the supertonic, which is the second degree of the scale. If you remember from those technical names, super is above the tonic, so we're starting on note F. However, we are still in the key of E flat major, so we need to think of the first, the fourth and the fifth. So of course E flat is the first, E, F, G, A flat is the fourth, and B flat is the fifth. So we need to make sure that they are represented somehow. So if we get a choice between G sharp and A flat, let's choose the A flat. Remember, we need every step, line, space, line, space, dear me, we need that represented at least once, but no more than twice for each step of the scale. And so we're starting on note F and we're coming down. This is where it's easy to start off wrong and end up going up. So let's think about, I'm going to start on a really high F because I don't want to get too high. So let's start here, and then we know we should end up here, shouldn't we? There's our bass clef F. So we're starting on F. So the next note we want is an E. Now don't forget, at the moment it's an E flat. So we're going to have to cancel that flat. And then we now need this one. So I'm going to do an E again, but call it E flat. We could have called it D sharp. I could have put a D and called it D sharp, but I'm sticking to flats for the time being just because that just sort of suits my fancy. So there's E flat. We now want a D. Now we want a D flat. Just move that along so you can see what I'm doing. D flat. Now we want a C. Now we want a B. We can either call it C flat or we can call it B natural. So I'll call it B natural. But now we want this one, and I'm going to call that B flat. So I'll put the flat back. I could have called it A sharp, but I want to call it B flat so that I've dealt with this aspect here, and we've definitely got that in line with the key signature. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so there's the B flat. Now we want an A natural, or let's say we're going to have to cancel. Oh, that's a B. So we're going to have to cancel the key signature. There's an A natural, but now we want an A flat, and I'm giving it an A flat. Dear me, not doing very well at multitasking, am I? There we go, A flat. I've done a natural again. Ugh. Let's just work this backwards. So we've got B flat, A natural, A flat. There we go, that wasn't so difficult. I could have called it G sharp, but I want to keep that fourth part of the scale, the fourth degree of the scale, in keeping with the key signature. Now we want a G. Now I want a G flat. I could call it F sharp, but I'm just deciding to stick to flats, and then that takes us to F, and we know we're home and dry. So that's the hard thinking done. Now all we need to do is decide which way the stems go and add these beams. So these are all, this group of 4 is all above the middle line, I should say. So that's that. Now this is the middle line, but these are all below, so we can flip the stems now and come the other way. Same again. So there's no point worrying about the stems and so on whilst you're figuring out the semitones. It's easy enough to deal with the stems afterwards, and then to finish. There we go. So it's not particularly difficult, it's just tricky because there's a lot to think about. So by all means, if you want to go ahead and try this next one, and then just so you can see that there, just keep your piano keyboard as a visual aid. And so let's just think about this in steps now, working through the process. So we need to start on the dominant of C sharp minor, which is the 5th, so that's C, D, E, F, G sharp we need to begin on. We're ascending, so make sure we go upwards. And then of course the 1st, the 4th and the 5th. The 1st is C sharp, the 5th we already know is G sharp, C, D, E, F is our 4th, F sharp because of the key signature. And so we need to make sure we start on a low G sharp, the key signature gives us that to begin with, and we end on a high G sharp. Pop the rest in, let's get those bar lines in. And then we're ready to do the thinking. Now keep everything neatly aligned, otherwise it's so easy to lose track where you're going. And so let's work our way up, starting on G sharp. So we've got a G sharp, we now need an A. Now we need an A sharp. We could call it B flat, but I'm going to stay with A sharp. It just makes sense to me whilst we're in a sharp key. And I'm working upwards, so there we go. So B is the next note. Make sure we're aligned. Now we need a C natural. At the moment it's a C sharp because of a key signature. So let's just cancel that sharp and then we can put it back again. So now we've got a C sharp. Now I need a D. At the moment that's a D sharp, so let's cancel that to D natural. Now we want a D sharp. Now we want an E. We need an, let's make sure we're all aligned. So I've got the right number of notes so far, yes. So E. Now we need an F, so I'm going to cancel the key signature and call it F sharp. We could call it E sharp, but we've got F natural, sorry I should say. And then pop the key signature back, so we need a sharp back. F sharp. And now we want a G natural, so cancel the key signature. And then the next one will be our G sharp, so we know we're home and dry. So we've got definitely every line and space, and we've got the first, we've got a C sharp, we've got an F sharp, and we've got G sharp, so that's properly allocated. So now we just need to put the stems, so these can go up. This last one's sort of outvoted really, so we'll have the stems going up there. And we need another beam here. Now we flip the stems. That's dotted, that needs that. Last little bit. Those two need another beam. There we go. That's right then. Just check that through. Yep, there we go. So that's that done. So it's not particularly difficult as such. It's just tricky with lots of little bits to think about. I suggest you just take things a little step at a time. And so we'll end this video here. And then perhaps if you want to try the remaining 3 exercises, the remaining 3 parts of this exercise I should say, and then we'll go over those together in the next video once you've had time to try those yourself. I do hope that's been helpful to you. Thanks for watching. Please do visit sharonbill.com, make use of all the resource available to you there. If you can give me a like, I do hope that you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Please subscribe to my channel, there's loads more to come. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Bye.